share the screen again. Welcome everyone. I'm very pleased that we have this wonderful opportunity to come together in this session and be together and learn from each other. And warm greetings to all of you, all the participants, and of course our speaker and the panel members. And I see two participants raising the hand. Is there any problem? Okay. Anyway, uh, so so one thing that I learned is actually the word called Ayubohan. So a warm greetings to all of you. And I'd like to welcome you for this training program on evaluation design, evaluation method and approaches. And this training is basically for public officials and M&E professionals. And I would like to welcome you for this particular session, which is the launch of the training program. And also we'll have a discussion on, the brief various concepts that we use in evaluation, the introduction to evaluation, let's say. And uh, my name is Rajini Kaesta, and I will be moderating this session. And so I work as evaluation officer in Regional Office for South Asia, UNICEF. And I have recently joined UNICEF, and I'm very glad that I got this opportunity to be part of this session. And I would just like to run through the participants' profile. We are highly, impressed and glad that, such experienced and acclaimed participants are, colleagues are here as participants. And thank you so much for joining in and taking the time out. As you can see, all of you have a very good understanding on M&E, and you have spent a lot of time on it, and which is actually has already raised the bar. And we also see that this session will not just be like a training where we will be saying something to you, but I also see this as an opportunity to learn from each other. And thank you for really giving time for this session. And I am supposed to give you the ground rules now, and it's very basic that we always been doing, keeping the microphones muted and video feed disabled. But if you want to keep it open video, that's fine, but as long as there's no disturbance. And but definitely microphones muted, unless if you want to speak, then raise your hand and we will unmute you, and then you can always speak. And another important ground rules that I should say is that please provide your comments, your questions. We have this, there is the chat box that you can drop in your question. If you have any comments or any reflection while the presenters are, presenting, then we also welcome that. And if you want to share your experience, we also let you, I mean, you can also do that as long as time permits. So these are the very basic the ground rules that I want to present here. And if you have any concern, or if you have any suggestion or advice, please reach out to our organizing team members in the given emails. Now, Asala, is Professor Kumud already in?
Yes, I'm in.
Okay, great. Okay, so I would like to invite Professor Kumud to give us the welcome remarks. But before that, I'm sure Professor Kumud is not a new name for you all, but then I would like to briefly introduce you. Professor Kumud is currently working as a senior consultant at Center for Evaluation. She is an emeritus professor at University of Sri Jayawardenepura, And she was also a former professor of community medicine at the same university, and she has been engaged in the field of M&E for over 2 decades. So Professor Kumud, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you, Rajini, for all these comments you have made. So this is a joint effort with the Center for Evaluation and Sri Lanka Evaluation Association. So Center for Evaluation has been doing capacity building throughout last year. So we have been able to do some regional training in 4 areas, and we have done capacity building, and we also was recognized by the American Evaluation Association, the Center for Evaluation. So this is a joint effort to provide knowledge on evaluation designs and evaluation approaches. So this is the most what do you call academic area in monitoring and evaluation, and I hope we will be able to deliver to your satisfaction. Although it was planned to have face-to-face, it was not possible to do, so we will have 2 or 3 webinars, and then we will be making all efforts to see that we can have a face-to-face program. Hope you will enjoy all our planned webinars. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Professor Kumudu. And we actually, okay, here we are. I'm so glad Esther is here. And so I would like to call upon Esther Kagwa from UNICEF to give her remarks. But before I call upon her, she just joined in. Before I call upon her, I would like to give a brief introduction about her. Esther Kagwa is the Regional Evaluation Advisor for UNICEF Regional Office for South Asia. She is a monitoring and evaluation expert with over 20 years of experience in research, monitoring, and evaluation. She holds PhD in public health with a focus on research and population from Johns Hopkins University and has a master's degree from Washington University, St. Louis. And Esther has worked as director and advisor of monitoring and evaluation at numerous global development institutions, including Project Hope Foundation, Management Science for Health, Johns Hopkins University, Columbia University. And as a director of monitoring and evaluation, she has led diverse teams in providing evaluations related technical assistance to large country teams in Africa, in Asia, and Latin America. And she has also served as a principal investigator, lead evaluator on a wide number of research, studies, and evaluation. Esther, the floor is yours. And I just want to let you all know that Esther has just joined UNICEF Rosa recently. And this is a great opportunity for all of us to also hear from you and a few words of encouragement for all of us. The floor is yours, Esther.
Thanks a lot, Rajini, for those kind remarks and introduction. On behalf of UNICEF, I want to welcome all of you to this training program. I want to thank you for your attendance and signing up. I think the mere fact that you have signed up and that you're willing to put in your time shows the value that you add to evaluation. We always say in evaluation that if it's not measured, if it's not written up, then the tendency for most people is to think that it did not happen. So evaluation is a critical part of what we do. In addition to the participants, I want to thank the UNICEF Sri Lanka office. I want to thank the Sri Lanka Evaluation Society. And I also want to thank the Center for Evaluation at the university. I want to thank my colleagues, Rose and Rajini, and all the other stakeholders for organizing and coordinating this. I hope that you will enjoy it, that you learn. And also, I just wanted to emphasize that UNICEF is committed to continued collaboration and capacity building around evaluation, the same way we are committed to collaborating with government and other entities in other areas. So enjoy yourselves, And have a nice time. I'm sure you learn something and you take back something to your different walks of life. Thanks again, and have a very nice evening.
Thank you, Esther. Thank you for your time. And before we now really get into the actual content, we have planned some icebreaker. And I would like to support. I'd like to call Rose to help me with the mentee. And so meanwhile, I'll just give you the instruction for the Mentimeter. For the icebreaker, we have really few questions that we have set, and we want you to answer them. So, but before that, what you can do is that you can go to your browser and type menti.com. For better experience, I would request you to use your phone if you have if you have internet in your phone. If you are using mobile data, then that's even better. So just go to your browser, type menti.com, and then use the code given here on the screen. You will see that the code is given on the top of the screen. It's 7502789. I'll just give you a few minutes for this, and I hope you will be able to log in. And if you cannot do it in your mobile, that's fine. You can just go to any browser in your laptop, your computer. Just go to menti.com and use the code. I see that one of the respondent is already there. And I see that someone is very excited to do this. Okay. Okay. And I'll just wait for few minutes for all of you to log in. Um, so once again, open your browser and type menti.com. It'll ask for the code, and the code is given on the top of the screen. It's 7502789. Okay, we already have responses coming in. Okay, and for those who are not able to log in, you can always answer these questions in the chat box. That's fine. Okay, so I think we already have 12 responses right now, even more. And so let's looking at the time, let's move ahead with the questions. Oh, wow. Okay. So I see that most of you are already very excited and ready for this icebreaker. Rose, can we go to the next question? Okay, so this is very fun game, and I'm sure you've done this before. So it's called adjective yourself. For example, you have to think about an adjectives that really that starts from the first alphabet of your name, and that should also suits your personality, and you should give it along with your name. For example, my name is Rajani, and my name starts from R, and I can always say, oh, yeah, the Rose has already written rational Rose. And well, I can also say reckless Rajni or reasonable Rajni. I see that. I see curious Kumudu. And please write your name after the adjectives also, okay? And that will be fun. Awesome Acela. Okay. Okay, so names are coming in. Pleasant Pravat. That's great. Superb Subhashini. Simple Siraj. Okay, that's great. Victorious Vanilla. That's awesome. That's really good. Okay, this is really nice. Active Amal. Sweet Soumya. Cheerful Karishma. Karishma, yeah. Mindful Mahika. Okay, okay. This is really amazing. And gorgeous Gayatri, yes?
Rajni, you might want to also say that while this is fun, we're also testing this because we might use it for something a little bit more serious later on in the online series. So
yeah. So this is kind of testing also, but it's also fun. And yeah, something very serious coming after this. And wow, I see somebody writing there using using the options, annotation. That's great. That's fine. Okay. Okay. Superb Surangi. Dangerous Dulmin. Oh, okay. Avenger. Oh wow. Ajiwadin. Normal Nalaka. That's nice. I like it. Okay, so just keeping the time in mind, let's move on to the other question. Yeah, so many responses are coming in, but let's go to the other question. Kind Karuna. Okay, let me see if we can remove that. Okay. Okay, now the other question that we really want to know is, what are your expectations from this training? Because this is going to help us in shaping our content and our session. So we would like to know your expectation. Please feel free to provide your expectations. Learn from others. Update knowledge in evaluation. Okay, great. Update my knowledge. Uplift my skills on evaluation, learn more about evaluation process, update knowledge, learn evaluation methods, learn from others, improve knowledge on evaluation, sharing knowledge, peer learning. Wow, I want to learn about evaluation to gain more information, knowledge related to monitoring and evaluation. Okay. Rose, you'll have to scroll a bit to let me see the other. Okay, great. Okay. Share experiences, get good knowledge about evaluation. Wow, this is really great. And the best part of this is we already know that you already have experience and on evaluation, and most of you are looking forward to enhance and also refresh about the knowledge about evaluation, which is great. And also I'm very happy to see that you all are open for peer learning from each other, sharing your knowledge and experiences, which is a great thing. Wow, this shows that this whole batch is just open for knowledge and learning, and this is just great. Okay. Okay. Refresh theoretical knowledge, design, evaluation design. Okay, fine. Okay. Share M&E experience with different sectors, development, government, and private sectors. Okay, that's great. I think, thank you so much. So we can yeah. So now, thank you for really participating well in this icebreaker. Now I would like to, so let's get into the content of the session. I would like to call upon Acela for to run us through about the, give us the introduction of the training and what will be the learning objectives, and just run us through the training modality. So and before that, I just want to briefly introduce him again. And Acela, I know all of you know him, and he's the president of Sri Lanka Evaluation Association, and he has over 2 decades of experience on M&E. And he is also the alumni and advisory committee member of International Program on Development Evaluation Training. And he is also the director of Center for Evaluation, University of Sri Jayawardenepura, and a member of the teaching faculty of the postgraduate diploma in M&E course run by the same university. And Acela, the floor is yours. Can you hear me? Sela, you're there? We can see your screen. Can you hear us, Sela? Is there any?
Yes, I can hear
Okay,
you.
great.
I was trying to put the presentation on. Can you see the presentation?
Yes, we can. Yes.
I put it presentation mode. It's fine, right?
Yes, perfect.
Okay, thank you, Rajni. Thank you for moderation and all the introductions. And also, I must thank Esther and Professor Kumudu for the welcome remarks. So this is the first webinar of the series of webinars we are conducting. And also welcome to I also welcome all the participants for this training series. And on behalf of the Sri Lanka Evaluation Association and Center for Evaluation, University of Sri Jayawardhanapura, I want to introduce the program, what it is, and what we are trying to do here. Of course, I will talk about Sri Lanka Evaluation Association a bit and Center for Evaluation, and what is this capacity building program and how we have planned it. Sri Lanka Evaluation Association is actually, it was established in 1999, one of the oldest evaluation associations in the world. At that time, only there were less than 15 evaluation associations around the world, and SLEVA in short is one of them. It is a member-driven association. If you are also interested and not a member yet, you can apply for the membership. SLEVA was actually, advocating for the national evaluation policy since 2003, and it was actually passed in 2018. And one of the main objectives is, capacity building of evaluators in the country. Center for Evaluation at the University of Sri Jayawardhanapura, actually it was established in 2016, and it is the first ever Center for Evaluation in this region, South Asia sub-region, and it is kind of an institution within the academic sector to enhance the evaluation capacity. It supposed also there is at the University of Sri Jayawardhanapura, I can see some of the students are also part of this webinar. There is postgraduate diploma in monitoring and evaluation, and center is supporting the postgraduate diploma course, which is the first ever postgraduate diploma on monitoring and evaluation in this region. It was started with 7 universities in 7 countries in the region, but only University of Sri Jayawardhanapura started the course in the region. And it develops training modules and training conduct training programs for capacity building in evaluation. I must also mention that this is a new initiative, Sri Lanka Evaluation Association with Center for Evaluation and some other partners are planning to have National Evaluation Week 2021. It is the first ever National Evaluation Week in Asia Pacific region. Actually, this is mainly in Africa region. I have seen a National Evaluation Week. This is a national effort with all the stakeholders get together and organize this. And we hope to have all of you in the National Evaluation Week as well. I also want to mention that why evaluation is so important with this context, because we have one of the oldest and strongest National Evaluation Association in the country. We have a strong evaluation center, which is also the first ever center in the region. And why we are promoting evaluation? One reason is that globally also there is a lot of attention for evaluation in the context of sustainable development. As you know that the UN resolution on sustainable development was passed in 2015, September 2015, endorsed by the states, member states. And with that, actually, there was, a resolution on evaluation for capacity building at the country level. Again, a UN resolution in December 2014. So that emphasizes evaluation capacity and why it is important in achieving the development in countries, especially developing countries.
Sela, I have to mention this. In the comment, I see that you need to increase your volume, and yeah, there's a request for you to increase the volume, and also looking at the time, I also request you to
yes, right.
try and finish it early.
Yes,
Thanks.
thank you. Thank you. Can you hear me well?
Yes.
Yeah, Sri Lanka evaluation policy was endorsed in 2018, as I mentioned before as well. So we are the only country in this South Asia region having endorsed national evaluation policy, and Sri Lanka has draft national evaluation bill as well. So this evaluation capacity building program is implemented with support from UNICEF by Center for Evaluation and Sri Lanka Evaluation Association to review the postgraduate diploma in monitoring and evaluation. And also we have, planned for a training program for young and emerging evaluators. Actually, this training, face-to-face training, is conducted on 24th and 25th September. Actually, it was planned for March because, as you all know, that because of COVID-19, we had to postpone it. Now it is happening in September. And this training program for you all, especially public officials and evaluation professionals, that is, one of the main training programs. And we have two components for that, 3 days residential training on evaluation design, and another 3 days evaluation training on evaluation methods and approaches. Actually, we planned this in the mid of this year, but again, because of COVID-19, we had to postpone it. That's why we planned it, with some webinars, some introductory webinars. And definitely we will have the face-to-face training in November and early December. So you all are, going to participate in this based on your performance in the webinars. We are planning to have actually 3 or 4 webinars. One is, this is the first webinar, and the second webinar next Tuesday, and third webinar on 29th September, and fourth webinar in October. And then we have, these 3 days residential training programs. That's how we plan for it. And each residential training program will have about 30 participants. So you will have, an opportunity to participate in these training programs. This is how we have planned it. And these webinars are introductory webinars. And actually what we expect from this, this training program is that to improve the capacity of public officials and evaluators, because when we are trying to have, evaluators, it's difficult to find, evaluators with, technical knowledge. That is one thing. And especially at the public sector, we need more and more, public officials with evaluation capacity. And also, professionals at the other sectors also with evaluation capacity. So we will have, more evaluators with the technical knowledge. And as you mentioned in your expectations as well, this is, definitely these, webinars and the training programs will give you, technical knowledge on evaluation, and you will have an opportunity to learn from others as well as learn from the resource persons. And also, some opportunity to advocate for evaluation, and you will have, specific knowledge on evaluation methods, approaches, and how to conduct evaluations. So that's the main expectations. And at the end of the training programs, including webinars, you will receive a certificate issued by the university and the Sri Lanka Evaluation Association, and we want to have a good pool of evaluators, professionals with evaluation knowledge at the public sector and other non-government sectors. So we will have pool of professionals in evaluation. I think I covered most part of it, and thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Asela, for giving us the learning objectives and the running us through the modality, training modality. Very helpful. Thank you so much. And now we are in the important segment of the session, and here we will be focusing on more on the introduction to evaluation and various concepts like what is evaluation culture and evaluation rigor, or let's say evaluation influence. So we will be focusing on that. And to run us through, I would like to invite Rose from UNICEF to do your presentation. As she's getting ready for the presentation, I would like to introduce her as well. So we call her Rose. Her name is Rosemary Thompson Kun, which is a long name. And she works in UNICEF Regional Office for South Asia as a multi-country evaluation specialist. Her work covers Bhutan, Nepal, Sri Lanka, and Maldives. And she is also thematically, she also focuses on the evaluation capacity building. And prior joining to UNICEF, she has worked with other UN agencies in evaluation and project management in technical advisory capacity. And it seems like Rose really loves South Asia because she has already lived in India, and this is her second time living in Nepal and working there. So now, Rose, the floor is yours. And yeah, thanks.
Thank you. It's the South Asian food. I've also had the pleasure to be working in Sri Lanka on a few occasions, and I do have to say that the Sri Lankan food probably outvotes all the others. But thank you very much, Rajni, for the introduction. So my name is Rose, and like Rajni said, I work on evaluation capacity development. That's one of my items in my high items in my job description. I very much like working with evaluation capacity development as well. Esther also mentioned it is in line with UNICEF commitment to working on evaluation capacities. So we work both on internal capacity development for the UNICEF programs and country offices, but also, of course, with our partners, with government partners, and then the evaluation associations. But to go to the part we have today, which I'm presenting, this is really to kind of give a little taster on what's coming. So this won't be very technical. We will touch some of the concepts and some of the concepts and ideas around evaluation culture and evaluation rigor and evaluation influence. But I also wanted to ask, we will have hopefully some time for some questions and answers after my presentation. But I wonder if we also need that time for Asela's presentation on the actual training program. So I was just wondering, should we do that first, or should we then have at the end time for both questions for Asela's presentation on the training programs, and then on some of these topics that we're introducing on this on this session? Would that work?
No, I feel, Rose, that it is better if you do, and then your questions are asked, and then Asela does the training.
Okay, so we'll go through my presentation, and then we'll have the questions and answers for anything that's to be discussed. Okay, so like I said, the session objectives, and also just checking on my audio is can you hear me well?
Yes, yes, perfect.
Okay, good. And my screen is showing you the presentation.
Yes.
Great, thank you. So like I said, the objectives today is really just to give you a taster on what's going to come during the training course, and we will deep dive into some of these elements during the training course, both in the forthcoming online sessions, but then also in the face-to-face trainings. So like I said, this is really not a technical deep dive. This is just to start the discussion on what will be the themes and topics on the training course. And we'll keep it very late. It's also very late in Colombo time already for you. On the concept, one thing to note is that as we know, there are many definitions around evaluation, and people also understand evaluation differently. So from the UNICEF perspective, we have a lot of normative guidance on evaluation. So we've developed several kind of definitions what we mean by evaluation. So this is also to say that there's no right or wrong. There's some key kind of attributes to evaluation that we all adhere to, but there's really no one definition to what we mean by evaluation. But to maybe pinpoint some of the key terms there is that it should be systematic and it should be impartial. So we are looking at evaluating the evaluee, the object of the evaluation, whether it's an activity or a program or a policy, from an impartial and sort of objective point of view. From there to the discussions on why do we conduct evaluations, and of course then there's the whole other element of who conducts evaluations. But if we just start with the very basic sort of two concepts around conducting evaluations, we do have the accountability measures. So this is also for anyone working on the government side. We have the accountabilities to our taxpayers, the citizens, from kind of development agency perspective, and the UN. We have accountability to our donors, our boards, and our the population that we serving. So there's a lot of accountability elements in terms of validating that we are delivering what we have intended to deliver. And really the purpose of evaluation is to promote accountability, and that's very much around the evaluation culture, the key. But also, in addition to the accountability, as we know, we have the learning elements. We want to learn. We want to learn in terms of how we can better program, how we can improve the results, how we can improve the efficiencies and the effectiveness, how we can save money more in terms of expensive government programs, expensive development partner programs. There's always a more efficient way of doing things better and to reach our beneficiaries and target groups better. So there's really a balance with the accountability and learning, and sometimes we lean a bit more on the learning side, and sometimes we lean a little bit more on the accountability side. And what's interesting from UNICEF perspective right now with COVID-19 is that we really, because it's such a fast moving context, we're really leaning very much on the learning side as well. There, just to conclude, so the idea is, of course, that with the balance of accountability and learning, we want to improve the planning, programming, budgeting, implementation, and reporting for better serve the population and the broader social development agenda. So that is very basic, and it's just because we will then, during the training course, we will have, we will kind of have different routes to deep dive into some of these elements. But where we also will be having, as you saw from Marcela's presentation, we will have a specific session on for instance, theory of change. But I wanted to already here bring out the theory of change for evaluation function. And this is a very simplistic one when we go to the kind of the theory of change for how we use it in evaluations to frame to develop evaluation frameworks. For instance, we're talking about much more complex theories of change, but this is just to open the discussion in terms of that we do also have a theory of change for the evaluation function. And from the UNICEF perspective, it's really just looking at the basics, what is working, what is not working in a specific context, and we carry out an evaluation, we improve the performance, and we improve the children's lives. So this is like the kind of the raison d'etre for our evaluation function in a very simplistic nutshell. But like said, when we talk about the theory of change in the actual training course, then we will have, the more kind of elaborate sort of look on the theory of change and all the different strategies and assumptions and risks that are around, built around the theory of change. So I'm trying to go fairly fast so that we will have some time to discuss. We have about 15 minutes left. So the third broad topic that my presentation is touching on, which also is a kind of an introduction to what we will deep dive into during the training course, relates to the evaluation rigor. And I won't go in detail into this because this is just a different, this is a level of evidence or level of rigor put together to show where we have high rigor, high level of evidence which we can trust, which governments and policymakers and decision makers would most ideally use, and that level is usually a level where we have a synthesis of a number of randomized controlled trials. And here we have high external validity for the evaluative evidence. And then we go down and we will go through these in the evaluation designs in more detail. We kind of like lower the rigor level when we go down to different types of comparative studies, and we go down to different types of like sort of less rigorous, less triangulated evidence pieces. And this applies, while this is more valid maybe for research, this also applies for evaluation as well. The other way of looking at this is and many of you have seen this, is the pyramid of simplified evidence hierarchy, where here in this lower bulk here we have the work that we also in UNICEF probably do mostly, which is the case studies and the qualitative research and a mixed method evaluations, and a big bulk of the work that we do is really down here. We do also the more rigorous evaluations, but they're very expensive, and we do less of those. But some of these topics we will discuss during the training course as well. And perhaps another reason to show this is of course, because we have a lot of government representatives here, is that, of course, part of promoting evaluation culture is promoting the rigor in evaluation, so that the participants, for instance, in this training course would be able to identify what is a rigorous evaluation, where the credibility and external validity is perhaps higher, and therefore it's perhaps more sound to make some decisions based on that. But like I said, we will come back to these in the design discussions for the evaluations. Then there's this. The other reason why we're talking about this is because even at our end, we often struggle, and I believe that this is many people can relate to this. There are different streams of evidence pieces, and we try to be very strict that evaluation is evaluation, and there are certain attributes to evaluation, and then we have different functions that perform different sort of purposes and objectives for the work. So we have appraisals, we have monitoring exercises, we might have reviews, inspections, investigations, and then we have the broad area of research and audit. And sometimes it's not so self-evident where what's the line between a review and an evaluation. And even on our end, we've had to develop a very strict sort of rigid criteria that we have a reference point where we say, well, now this actually does kind of fulfill all the evaluation criteria. So we are going to call this an evaluation. It's not a review. We have all the necessary elements. So again, during this training course, we hope that we will strengthen the kind of the clarity on what is an evaluation, what is a review, and how research piece could differ from an evaluation as well. And hopefully we'll have some interesting discussions around this as well. So the last sort of introductory theme that I'm bringing here today is on what makes an evaluation important. So going back, why do we do evaluations, and why they're important, and why do we strive, and why do we make the effort to try to excel in evaluation. And this is again the UNICEF sort of new policy coalitions. And of course, the advocacy element is important there as well. So when evaluation evidence is used to bring issues to the policy dialogue, for instance. And then when we talk about the instrumentality of evaluation, then we go into the actual policy or program changes that we achieve through an evaluation. And that's really the high order, the high level of influence, when we manage to put together and develop and publish an evaluation that really leads to policy and program changes. It's quite rare actually, and hopefully we'll have more on that later. What maybe happens a little bit more is that there's an influential evaluation which actually contributes to social change in a sense that it might help a paradigm shift in a policy or program discussion or approach. It helps to institutionalize a new way of looking at some policy elements. And then we'll try to wrap up so that we'll have that discussion time. The last thing here is just to go through some of the attributes for influential evaluations. And I think this is an interesting discussion, what makes an evaluation an influence and what makes us better evaluators and makes us better in making influential evaluations is kind of, it's been recently discussed a little bit more. And at UNICEF, even to the extent that now UNICEF publishes about 100 evaluations every year. And we've recently started to talk about we nominate the most influential evaluations. So we're trying which really try to look for those evaluations that have really contributed to a change and have really left a mark in learning and in changing things for the better. So strategic intent is very important, and oftentimes we still struggle with actually articulating the strategic intent on the evaluation, which is really related to why are we doing this evaluation? What's the objective and purpose and rationale of the evaluation? The other things, what we expect from influential evaluation is the quality. Obviously, it has to be of good quality because otherwise it's not very convincing. We want the rigor, we want the right sample size, we want the representation, because if it's not representing representative or the sample size is very low, decision makers would not necessarily take it as much of a credible evaluation. And credibility is a kind of a combination of all of these, but it also relates to who we do the evaluations with. For instance, from our perspective, from government, it's often very important who conducts the evaluation, and not all partners are necessarily as credible as some others. And we tend to, for instance, in UNICEF, work more and more with academia and with different partnerships, strategic partnerships, bringing in individual evaluators, but academic institutions, and also with governments. So we have a kind of a mix of evaluators. And then relevance and timeliness. I think we all know that timeliness is a big issue with evaluations, because they tend to take a long time, and then when they come out, they're not necessarily so relevant and timely anymore. And then also we have an issue often with not adequately engaging the users of the evaluation. And also we have an issue with not engaging adequately the actual, the beneficiaries of the evaluation, which leads to the discussions on the accountability of the affected populations. And then I think we need to move forwards, and we have some questions and answers now. And so we don't have to go through here. The idea was to little bit to collect some examples from the participants on what they have encountered in their years in the M&E field as hugely influential evaluations, and what we can learn from these. But I think we'll leave this, and I'll give the floor to Rajni to lead the discussions and the question and answers. So over from my end, thank you.
Thank you so much, Rose. So this is definitely something that we would like to hear from the participants. If you have been, involved in influential evaluation, then we would love to hear from you also. But so I see that there are questions coming in, and so this particular segment is basically for the question and answer. And I have received a few questions from participants, but before I go to those questions, I'll just give a little more time for participant to give more questions as well. But meanwhile, I too have a question to our panelist, our speaker, that I now, because of pandemic, whole situation has changed. And also I see that, our regular ongoing evaluations have been affected by COVID-19. And I see a lot of significant challenges evaluators are facing. So I just have a question. So do you think this pandemic, this COVID-19 will have a long-term effect on the evaluation culture, or let's say to some, will it affect the evaluation rigor that we are talking about over here? What do you think on this? So Rose, would you like to answer?
Me?
Or Acela, or anybody?
I think we would like to hear some comments from the participants. I think it would be nice to hear. And also I think we can open the comments for both of the presentations, either on the content of the training course, or then on the latter one, and then also touch base on the broader questions on what's changing because of COVID-19, and if anyone has had any influential evaluation to share. But yeah, Acela, if you want to also open the floor for any questions regarding your presentation.
Yes, Rajni, I think it's good. Participants can, ask questions regarding the course as well, in addition to Rose's presentation. Regarding the question you asked, I think it is a very important question because it raised, but actually the pandemic, I think, raised several aspects of evaluation as well, because some countries did well in the pandemic and some countries did not. And why? How do we learn from others? And others had, good strategies and good way of, handling the pandemic. And how do you learn from others? And Rose mentioned about learning and accountability. I think learning part is more important in evaluation.
Mm-hmm.
And whether we have learned from countries where they have, made good progress regarding the pandemic. I think that also raises, about the need and importance of evaluation, I must say. But on the other side, I think you're also asking, how it affects evaluation. Of course, many evaluations, had this issue, how to collect information in a situation like this, and it is a challenge for evaluators. But of course, I think we have, time to discuss this as well in our upcoming webinars and face-to-face.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so I have received a question from our participant. So she has written whether meta-analysis or meta-evaluation is the higher level of evaluation. So what do you have to say on this?
Yeah, I think the idea is, I suppose, that the systematic reviews, which are type of meta-analysis, if they're carried out on a large sample of randomized controlled trials, for instance, on deworming programs or nutrition programs, I do think that that's something that I consider as very, very high rigor, because you're increasing the external validity of the evidence that's been stemming, if it's pointing to the right direction, because you've actually carried out the kind of the trials on very controlled environments in a multiple locations, for instance. So systematic reviews at their best are global bodies of, for instance, randomized controlled trials. But then, I mean, when we talk about meta-analysis or meta-evaluations, then those can be also just reviews of a large body of evaluative evidence, which are not necessarily all so rigorous. So there's that conceptual difference in systematic reviews, and then the kind of the meta evaluations. But I'm familiar with a couple of meta evaluations. I also think that they make a lot of sense, because you have, an analysis and a review of a large body of evaluative evidence, and if it's pointing to the same direction, of course, it has a lot of value, rather than a single piece of evidence from a deeply contextualized situation, which you might not be able to then use in a different context. Over.
Okay. Thanks, Rose. And I also see that one of our participant, Munazir, he has actually mentioned that, like at provincial level, they've already started at a small scale. They've already started setting KPI at outcome level to see whether or not the set target or the objectives are met or achieved. So that's a great start, and thank you for letting us know. But let me know if there is any question on this comment, or if you want to ask anything about it. And so there is another comment over here. Improved monitoring leads to improve the quality and performance. Evaluation findings helps to make decision on planning. We use the findings for decision making. Yeah, correct. Perfect. Yes, you are right, Madhuka. And
well, it's one of the Madhukas. We still have, I think, several Madhukas.
Oh yes, so, yes. It can be one of our participants. But
actually, it's not me actually.
Oh, okay. Okay, so I see a hand raise, and I think it's better that we let him speak, him or her. And so you can unmute yourself, and please go ahead and make your statement.
Yeah, I'm Amal from Family Planning Association, working as a monitoring and evaluation assistant director. So my question is, we know that with the higher or better rigorous level, the credibility or the findings or evidence is very reliable, and same time it is high cost, and other expectation from the key stakeholders, they are also expecting good quality or influential evaluation. So how we balance what is the rigorous level, and how to balance the expectation of key stakeholders and the rigorous level, because we have to balance the cost and the other limiting factors or resources. So how we balance this expectation of key stakeholders, and same time the maintaining good credibility by maintaining good rigorous level and proper rigorous level. So that's my question.
Yeah, that's
Is
a very
clear?
good. Yes, it's very clear. It's a very good good comment, and absolutely agreed. And I don't know if Marcela or others want to also contribute, but I do agree that it's a bit of a dilemma. On the other hand, when you do secondary analysis on the meta evaluations, it's usually analysis of existing evidence. So that sometimes can be surprisingly affordable, actually, rather than going to primary data collection. So actually, for the past years, I've been pushing also in my own kind of role that we would do more meta evaluations of existing evidence and use that for learning and finding kind of new solutions. Because that actually is, like, primary data collection is always the most expensive option. For the impact evaluations, what we do, for instance, for the randomized controlled trials, I think at our end we also shiver for the high cost, and also because it's very complex when you're trying to instill kind of clinical rigor into social development and social phenomena. And when we talk about the kind of complexities around social issues, I think we cannot often use the same models, and it becomes extremely difficult. But we do have some examples and cases where it does work when it's very well planned, but it usually does come with a high cost. So yeah, we're also looking at more cost-effective options for rigorous evaluations. And of course, there's a whole new body that we'll hopefully discuss during this training course in using the new data and big data. You know, there's a lot of new technological options for being rigorous with lower cost. So that's the kind of the new developing area, which hopefully we can touch upon on this training course as well. So I that's my take on that. If others want to complement or add something or disagree, then please. Over.
Great. And I also, so if any one of you would just want to raise your hand and then come in, please do so. You will see the raise hand option on when you have that participant bar open. Then you will also see the option over there. You can just raise your hand or just unmute yourself and please speak. And Munazir, I see you with the comment there. Why don't you come in and speak?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, of course we can.
Okay. Hi, I'm Nazir from Provincial Planning Secretariat, Eastern Provincial Council. As I understand, evaluation is a high cost exercise. So at the provincial level, in public sectors, there are very much less attention given for these evaluation process, at least for these the low scale projects as it is implemented at the provincial or the district level. So what we want to learn with the less cost effective and the minimum techniques, because we don't have such a professional at level. So at least, but we won't initiate something. So if there is any the simple things, it will be easier for, you know, rather than learning high tech or some complex things. If we start from the simple things, it will be easier for us to follow, and we can ask our core staff and the other provincial level, the regional level institution also to follow. So that's what our expectation. Yeah. I don't know whether I just clearly expressed my view. Just I want to say.
Thank you, Munazir. Yeah, actually, in fact, it is rightly you've mentioned. You know, how can we have that credibility, that quality of evaluation that we want, keeping the cost in mind, and how can we minimize that cost, because that's definitely important aspect. And yeah, anyone, if you want to, even a
Yeah, I'd just
participant.
like to add, the problem is that if the program itself has a evaluation component written to it, so that the budget allocated that will be small, because you look at the results and see whether you really reach the results. But the problem there is that the people who are evaluating or looking at the outcome are the people who are planning. So that is why there is a conflict of interest also in that, and there is a credibility whether the results are the same. But when you do an evaluation totally independent to the project, then you have to start from the grassroots level, planning, questioning, evaluating, all that goes through. That's why it is costly. So if I'm also in the same concern of him. Countries like us, which we are poor, doing an independent evaluation is very costly. It should be some people in the same institute or some other place, while doing the project, independently evaluate in different stages will be more productive, I feel.
Yeah, sometimes the evaluation cost might be higher than the actual project cost.
Exactly, true.
For example, the agriculture sector projects, we may give the seeds or some inputs, those things, you know, it may be very much less cost. Maybe we can cover around 1,000 people. So, but it can be some kind of pilot projects. But when we go for an evaluation for those things, there is no, first thing, there is no such setup. Second thing, there is no budgetary allocation. And third thing, we don't have professionals to do it. So what we are expecting is, at least at our level, we have to start something, you know, rather than keeping a zero, we can start something. It may be setting some KPIs or whatever it is, seeing some results, then we can analyze whether the results is achieved, or if not, what will be the reason. So then we can analyze, realize, okay, the strategy is not suitable to achieve the result, so we can change the strategy. So to tell them that your strategy is wrong, because as a planner we have to know that maybe the professional may say no, going through this route we can achieve this destination. But if he's failed, then we have to say, okay, your route is wrong, so you have to change the route. For that one we need some kind of thing. So that's what, as a planner, we are expecting. If there is any simple things, we also following something, but I'm not saying, we will not say that it's a systematic ways, but if there is any kind of evidence-based systematic things, it will be more helpful for us. There are lots of experts here, so we are looking forward to hear from you. I think
Munazir,
the upcoming things, yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think you raised a very good question, as Professor Kumudu also mentioned. And that's why, there are, several challenges also. That's why, it's costly. One is that, we don't have, enough number of evaluators. Definitely, sometimes you have to have evaluators from other countries or international evaluators. So it's costly. And also now some other options, like you mentioned, maybe self-evaluation. So, how do you capitalize, evaluation capacity within the organization as well? And also if it is, independent evaluation, if we have, local evaluators who have the capacity, that is also very important. That's why we are doing this capacity building initiative as well. And also in the face-to-face training, we are talking, we will go into deep about, evaluation design and also evaluation methods and approaches. Definitely you will learn about that. And maybe some methods and approaches are less costly and some are, costly, definitely, depending on that and how you plan it. So that's how, that you will learn in the evaluation design part. So definitely you will be able to go for, self evaluations by yourself, with your team, or at the same time, you will also see, how to do, design cost-effective evaluation as well. I think definitely we will go into that, and this training program will help that. This is my opinion. Thank you very much. Rajni, you are muted.
Okay, so definitely it is a very important point that you've raised, and maybe yeah, this is maybe through this training we can also have a in-depth discussion on this part. And I also see another comment over here. It's again from Madhuka, and I don't know who that is, but anyway, it's written. There's a comment there. It says. Improved evaluation process is much needed to update the medium-term development plans over the years with setting realistic targets. If anybody, if you want to come in and put forward your point or your comment, please feel free. And I think we're running late, and probably this will be our last comment or the question, unless somebody has very burning question that you really want to put forward. Please go ahead.
Rajini, I want to add something. I feel that everybody is discussing this. We always go for these independent evaluations. As we in Sri Lanka, we have been first in a lot of things. It will be nice to see whether we can do independent evaluation within the institutions that we are doing, rather than hiring consultants. And I mean, as this was told, if you are just giving very small amount of seeds to plant and get the fruits, and then the consultant agriculture expert may be charging more than the whole project. So why not we try to do something independently, as if we can, within the project itself, whether the institution that conduct the project.
Very interesting point, Professor Kumudu. And definitely it's again a discussion, a very important discussion to be made, like how can we really maintain the credibility, the independence, the quality of the evaluation, and at the same time we've been talking about the cost. I mean, having the balance there. So this is definitely an important discussion to be taken forward. And okay, so anyone would like to?
Would like to add,
okay.
I would like to add that evaluation itself should be planned at the beginning of the project. When they plan the budget accordingly, then they could be able to manage the cost as well as the project impact.
Just I want to add one more thing. The thing is, when you people, I'm just blaming, not blaming anyone, but you guys are thinking about the mega projects. Just think about even at this, the Rose presentation, she even talk about the activity. Maybe if I give a pen, I have to evaluate whether the pen is used for the particular purpose. So those kind of things we cannot budgeting, but we have to establish kind of system. What we propose, what we propose, maybe within a system. For example, okay, at the provincial council, what we can do, okay, the works of the particular departments can be monitored by the maybe the particular ministry coming under the under purview, or the maybe the chief secretary office or the planning secretariat. Maybe they are some kind of maybe it's not 100% independent, but there is some kind of independence will be there, because they will not be controlled by this. Similarly, at the national level, maybe the national planning department or the ERD or some the project monitoring department or whatever they can do it. So here, most of us, we are when talk about the evaluation, we just think about the mega projects, mega scale projects, or the capital funds, the billions of things. But for the small level projects, sometimes there is no such thing. So here we want to establish kind of system rather than budgeting. If we are going for a budgeting, you know, if you go to the district secretary or division secretary works, there may be the allocation is less than 1 million. We can't expect to have a allocation or the budgetary allocation for this evaluation process. So here we need more of, if you targeting the public sector, you have to concentrate more on establishing a proper system and capacity them to do those things, rather than think about the capital. At this moment, you know about the Sri Lankan economy, the budget situation, it will be a huge task for the government. We can't just let to go, you know. So at our level, we have to do something. Maybe at the we can initiate something. So please think about it. It's just my opinion as a public officer. You maybe have different opinions, but I just want to express it. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Really interesting and very, very realistic. The things that we have experienced in our day-to-day work, you have brought out those topics, and definitely it is the topic that we should have really deep discussion on. And talking about the starting from in-house evaluation or in-country evaluation capacity, to how to maintain the independence and credibility, and at the same time have a low cost evaluation when the resources are so low. So all these are very rightly put forward issues and concerns that we have received, and definitely we would like to have more deeper discussion on this. And I'm sorry, I will have to stop this this really interesting discussions that we are having right now because of the time, but definitely we will come back to you next Tuesday, same time, and with the second webinar. And so here in the next webinar, we'll be discussing more on the current M&E practices of the participants of the government of Sri Lanka and international organization. And this will also give us more time to discuss on our practices. And so definitely there's another chance. And so dear participants, I really want you to thank you, each one of you, for giving your time, for great participation. And we would like to invite you again for the second session. That's on 22nd of September, time, same time, 6:30 p.m. And thank you so much. And I also like to thank our organizing team members, especially Madhuka and the team and all the speakers. And thank you so much.